the axis of evil. And they really blackmailed us for years, 47 years. Then we know that they are still financing every single terrorist organization around the world, known, even Boko Haram in Nigeria. Some people saying that it's not true. It is true. Hamas, Boko Haram, all jihad is paid and sponsored by Iran. How can you say it's not my problem? When people in Europe, maybe not as many, but in Europe, we actually have jihad already. Machetes, people are beheaded in the name of the religion. Priests are killed. The numbers of rapes, because they are different culturally and they believe they can rape infidels, are extreme. You don't have that. So I'm sorry to say that, but you don't have that yet. So you do not understand the scale of what is happening in Sweden, what is happening in Germany, what is happening in Paris, what is happening around Europe. Because Europe was weak and led jihadists and uneducated, wild people from different cultural circles. And then you've got people who are, in the mass migration, you've got 2 or 3 or 100 of them paid by organizations like very similar to Hamas, right? Hezbollah or other. So I think that people do not understand why this is important. It is important for next generations, for our daughters. I know some people will say, it's cost a lot and this and that. Yeah, dentist is expensive as well. That's life. Some things in life are not perfect. You have to pay for the doctor. You have to pay for the war. I'm not pro-war, don't get me wrong. I'm not exciting because someone will be killed or will die. No. But sometimes in our lives, we have to make very hard decisions. Very hard decisions.
What has this revealed by different countries? Because you're a member of the European Parliament,
Correct,
right? So
yeah.
what have you learned? Sometimes when fight takes place and you're at a bar with your friends, you notice who will fight, who won't fight, who runs, who will come in. You thought the big guy would fight, he didn't. You thought the small guy would run, he fought. You learn a lot about everybody, right? What have you learned about your peers in the EU from the war starting to now? Different countries, UK, Germany, Spain, Italy, what have you learned?
I must say, and I'm very sorry to say that as a European, most of them are cowards, spineless cowards. And we had this discussion with my friends. And if war would start in Europe without US, it would take 2 or 3 days for Europe to be done. I'm serious.
2 or 3 days,
yes.
With no help from US.
If US would not help, we would be done. I'm serious. So if someone thinks that US will pay from the taxes for Germany, look at how Poland pays, how much we pay. Everyone should pay 2%, right? We are 3.5%, 4.5% in a minute. And we pay more than we should, right? That's why Poland is so different. And we don't have illegal migration, so we can pay more. So we are smart. We don't have that. Our government did not allow mass migration to Poland, and I will keep coming back to this fact, because this is where most of the problems started in Europe. And it's just a fact. So if you ask me about the war, it's unpleasant, people are dying, it's expensive, but very often is needed to stop the bleeding. That's what I think, in general terms.
What are your thoughts about the role UK plays? Because it's interesting, right? When the war happens, hey, Lloyd's of London, we're not going to insure. US comes in, and they've had a monopoly on that for 47 years, 48 years. It's a long number, a long time that they've been doing that. And then Keir Starmer made some comments, and then now Prince Charles possibly coming to meet to try to get that relationship together. Are we seeing the tail end of British Empire having control over the world economy? Is it coming to an end?
Of course. Look at the polls. We know that they are talking about elections. It's 2 years, but still, Starmer is done. Look, you've got Reform, you've got other conservative parties, and somewhere in the end, Labour. They are down politically. People will not elect them. I think Nigel has a big chance to be next prime minister. Maybe in a coalition, I don't know, but that's a big chance. And the things you see on the streets of London, I used to live in London. I lived there for 5 years. And it's so changed that yesterday the guy was arrested for playing a gospel song, singing a gospel song on the streets of London. How can you do such things when you've got Muslim prayers, like thousands of them, praying on the streets during their feasts?
This year?
That's correct. That's actually yesterday, or that was posted yesterday. And how I can't even describe what I felt when I've seen this clip. Europe as a Christian continent, then we've got Christian country, which England used to be a Christian country. When people are arrested for praying for good things, for praying in a democratic country, how can you deal with them? I mean, how can you be a partner with such a leader? I can't see